And welcome to another episode of the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast on YouTube, Spreaker, and probably coming soon to Wisdom or something like that. I'm Taylor Phillips. Today is September 28th, 2022. Got a lot to talk about here, so let's get after that. Lions running back DeAndre Swift is week to week with a shoulder sprain. He reportedly might return after missing the next two games and then the bye week to play against the Dallas Cowboys on October 23rd. Also, you got wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown also not being out for too long with his ankle injury. So those are two offensive weapons you got that for just out for a short time. But Tracy Walker, he's out for the season. He's out for the season with a torn Achilles. He had a rough, year. From what I can tell, Tracy Walker has been very undisciplined as a safety on and off the field. And kind of just not good enough, really. So Tracy Walker, he's not a very disciplined guy. He really isn't. Just he doesn't think about it. He doesn't think about what he's doing. He got ejected in week 1, 2 personal fouls. One of them being a late hit. Really, this Tracy Walker character just over-representing his team by being a homer of a player, just like Eric Ebron used to do in Detroit. This really isn't working with the Lions. It really isn't. This team is still rebuilding. They're in rebuild mode and thus not ready to contend for a playoff berth. Therefore, there's no point for anyone, myself included, to root for the Lions to win. Although we can if we want to. They're 1-2 right now, and I thought they had game 3 in the bag, but almost in the bag. But no, I actually didn't. I didn't think they had it in the bag yet, but they were. They had a lead. They had 2 double-digit leads. They blew both of them. It was tied at. It was tied at 14 at halftime. Thankfully, the Lions were not behind, but man, the Lions, again, still in rebuild mode, and Dan Campbell trying to whip them into shape, but he's not. He does not. He proved that he's not a smart in-game decision maker. Well, he should not. He even admitted that he regrets. He even said in his post-game press conference he regrets making his decision to go for the field goal on 4th and a few. The Lions, again, this rebuild's making a little bit of progress. I'm still willing to give it time. I'm not really excited for this Lions team to make a run for a playoff berth. Not quite yet. I think it'll be a few more years, at least. If it doesn't work, well, it's just same old Lions. That's it. Sorry to disappoint everyone that roots for this team. But moving on, Pistons guard Cade Cunningham was putting on 10 pounds of muscle earlier in the week to be able to draw more opposing fouls. That's from what I'm hearing. Head coach Dwayne Casey says, quote unquote, he didn't recognize him. You can tell he's amazed at how Cade Cunningham is developing. Cade Cunningham can shoot, but you know, Cunningham knew for himself that he needed to get stronger physically. Also, you got the Pistons themselves hiring former players Keith Bogans and Rashard Lewis as new members of their coaching staff, and Alec Burks expected to miss the start of training camp while rehabbing for a navicular fracture. His status will be reevaluated in 3 weeks. The Bojan Bogdanovic signing with the trade, the Bogdanovic trade was I don't know. They gave up Kelly Olynyk and Saban Lee to the Utah Jazz for Bojan Bogdanovic. Now Bogdanovic can shoot as a center. He just needs to work on his rebounding. He's not averaging high rebounds, unlike being able to average like 19 or 20 points per game. Moving forward, Canada, the country of Canada, has dropped its vaccination mandate for athletes and visitors from America. So, for example, Red Wings left winger Tyler Bertuzzi is now completely eligible to travel with his team to games in Canada on the road against the Toronto Maple Leafs, Ottawa Senators, Montreal Canadiens, Winnipeg Jets, Edmonton Oilers, Calgary Flames, and Vancouver Canucks. So now we don't have to. Now Bertuzzi doesn't have to worry, and neither do we, about any restrictions, COVID-19, for example, due to a refusal to get vaccinated. With all that talent the Red Wings have added to their roster, they are at least almost ready to contend for the Stanley Cup. Almost. They got stacked talent. They whooped on the Pittsburgh Penguins last night in the preseason opener at PP Arena, 6-2. Dominik Kubalik scored a goal. Michael Rasmussen added 2 assists. Philip Zadina scored a goal and picked up an assist. Bruin, Steve Campers scored a goal for Detroit. Not bad. In fact, that was very good. That was a small taste of what's to come this regular season. Still not sure if they'll make the playoffs or not, but I'll never know. The Tigers a few weeks ago, hired former San Francisco Giants general manager Scott Harris as today. And from what I can tell, interim GM Sam Menzen might be the permanent GM soon. That's later to be announced. That may be later to be announced soon. After this regular season comes to a close. But Scott Harris's purpose is player development, and that's very important. And he intends to improve player development. That's exactly what the Tigers have been trouble over the years doing. Player development, or lack thereof. The Michigan Wolverines football team remains undefeated at 4-0 for now. The team won all their first 4 games, which all took place at home at the Big House. Maryland gave them an early test last week after Michigan just stomped on 3 practice opponents, including Colorado State, Hawaii, and UConn. But the Wolverines still remained undefeated after surviving a scare against Maryland. Going into Iowa City this upcoming Saturday. Now, the Hawkeyes have a terrible offensive unit, and Michigan's going to try to exploit that with their defense. It's also about weathering the storm on the road in a hostile crowd. The last time those two teams met was back in 2016 when the Hawkeyes pulled the upset with a game-winning field goal as time expired. Michigan didn't do anything in the fourth quarter of that game, as we recall. The Wolverines looked to correct that mistake and finish a lot stronger in order to win this upcoming game. That's at noon on Fox, I think. What in the hell is happening to the Michigan State Spartans? They're falling apart. They've all decided not to show up against Minnesota at home in a 34-7 loss at home in East Lansing. Mel Tucker, their head coach, kept trotting out this starting quarterback, Peyton Thorne, and Thorne single-handedly committed 3 turnovers, including 2 lost fumbles and 1 interception. That's absolute trash. Their defense was also trash too. Their defense is also trash. So was their offense. But we remember seeing Noah Kim play better than Thorne in one earlier game. Put Kim out there at some point. He can help the offense. Noah Kim can help the offense. The Spartans are now 2-2 overall. If they don't get their act together and improve, then this football team has a large problem on their hands. So that was another episode of the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast for September 28th, 2022. I'm Taylor Phillips. Follow the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Michigan_Truth. Like its Facebook page and subscribe to its YouTube channel. Business shoutouts go to Cali Tickets, 877-225-8425. Get a hold of Mark Goldman or visit CaliTickets.com. Creative Embroidery of Cadillac for designing the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast logo on my t-shirt and long sleeve shirt. United Food Service Solutions of Grand Ledge, Michigan, where Jim Lyons, a former DSR member, works. Superdraft Sports Book, referred to by Sean Stewart of Sports for America. The Michigan Sports Truth Podcast is a production and presentation of Phillips Media. Ta-ta, hit him with a high.